Hi, Miles Zanity 602 reporting to you at the Nightmare Central with day number 5 of my 31 days of horror film reviews, year number 4. Um, and with day number 5's review, we're going to be talking about Hellraiser Bloodline, which is a 1996 R-rated 85-minute horror science fiction film from director Kevin Yeager. Um, Kevin Yeager. Um, this film also, I think it's uncredited, but I'm pretty sure that Joe Chappelle, the Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers director Joe Chappelle had some bit of directing credits to this entry. Now you're probably saying, you, what about the first 3 Hellraiser movies? You're jumping to part 4. Well, part 1 was reviewed in last year's 31 days of horror film reviews. I think it's day number 17, so you could look that up. As for the other sequels that aren't included in this 4-film pack, I'm sorry, they're not going to be reviewed. So I'll just give my thoughts, my brief little thoughts on the 2 entries that came out before this. Check out part 1, last year's. But as of for parts 2 and 3, part 2, I love part 2. I think part 2 is a very great sequel. I really enjoy Hellbound Hellraiser 2. I think that has a lot going for it. I think it works just as well as the original Halloween 2 to the original Halloween 2. I think both of those work pretty well together. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth is a cheesy film. It's a cheesy film, but it's fun. It's a fun film. It isn't a classy horror cinematic masterpiece like parts 1 and 2 are, but it's fun. It's fun. It's brain dead. You could sit down and watch it and have a good time. It's nothing. It's nowhere near the level of the first 2, but it's fun. Now we get to Hellraiser Bloodline. The one with fucking Pinhead in space. This is Pinhead's entry into space. Leprechaun did it. I really fucking don't like Leprechaun. Jason Voorhees did it with Jason X. And in my humble opinion, I think Hellraiser Bloodline fits in between those 2. Because sure, Jason X is an awful movie. There ain't no beating around the bush. Jason X fucking sucks as a film. But it's a dumb fun film. It's harmless fun, but it's dumb. It's silly. It's dumb. It's silly, but it's my kind of dumb and silly, and it does a good job at closing the whole entire original Friday the 13th series with a bang. And also the Nightmare on Elm Street series by a technicality, if you think about it. Fuck Leprechaun. I hate all the Leprechaun movies. But with Hellraiser Bloodline, I've seen the work print. It was like, it was a horrible quality print. It was on YouTube for a short while. It has a few good things about it. It has it expanded the plot better. And there was few details that were good. There was a few things that, obviously a work print, isn't a finalized print. It's basically an untouched print of the film, and there's a few things that weren't very good about that print, but overall the work print is a superior version of the film. Now let's actually get into the film. Hellraiser Bloodline is about the origins of the Lamont configuration, which is about this guy in like I think the 18th century who has a wife, and you know he has a wife. He makes a box, he sells it to this guy, and the guy uses it to release girl by the name of Angelique. We get Adam Scott there. We get to see he unreleases the demon Angelique, and after he releases her, the guy sees that, and then he gets scared, and doesn't like that he created a tool, a gateway through hell, and that somehow his bloodline got cursed. Bloodline got cursed by that action, and then we see him in what is present day. Back in '96 was present day, but now it's like 19 years in the past. But anyways, we get to see another Bloodline member. We get to see that issue. Get Kim Myers, who was in Elm Street 2, which, wow, she's been both in a Freddy and a Pinhead film. That's quite awesome. But her in this film isn't really all that impressive. But I do like how Angelique, who, admittedly, Angelique in this film is kind of attractive. She kind of has like a weird look to her, but she's attractive overall. But Kim Myers isn't. And I like how she seduces people. We get some really cool things, like these two security guards. Who get their face mangled together. That's creative. I like some scenes. I like, the chase scene, and I like how that a present day family member gets throat cut. And then we enter the space sequences. Now, overall, the first two time periods, the 18th century, and modern day, both were have different varying degrees of quality depending on the scenes. But overall, when it was in those two time periods, it worked. It fit in well with the Hellraiser mythos. But the space scenes kind of affected things a bit. I do not like the portions of the film that are set in space. I think that the space sequences are silly. Leprechaun and Jason, it's a little bit more excusable since Leprechaun was never that good in the first place. Same thing goes for Jason. Jason never was all that great in the first place. He was fun and good, and plus the franchise just became a fucking mess. With Pinhead entering the space age. It did not work. It didn't fit in well with the classy mystique and hellish world that the Pinhead was supposed to be a part of. It seemed fucking silly and out of place in the Hellraiser movie. But I do like some of the scenes. We get Rimmer, who's happens to be. We don't really get much of a defined relationship between her and what's currently the last the toy maker's bloodline. Well, the bloodline gets revisited in Deader. I actually think I love Deader. Deader's a good movie. It's part 7. I might talk about that later on, but whatever. Wait for another video, possibly. But anyways, with the toy maker, I don't really believe this toy maker. It just doesn't feel. It feels more like they're just trying to escape the terror than anything. But Rimmer, the actress who plays Rimmer in this film, she's beyond fucking attractive. Like that fucking girl who plays Rimmer, in that scene, she's just like Angelique. She's hot, but she's kind of weird looking. She's kind of weird looking, but she's hot, very hot. I like her the way she looks. I like some of the death sequences that they do in the space sequences, but yeah, there's a few things that I don't really care for in this film. I don't like its visual style. I don't like the visual style too much, especially in the space sequences. Space sequences seem kind of like cheaply made. And when it's in space, when it's in space, when it's in space, it just doesn't look good. It looks kind of shitty. The first two time periods that this film takes place in are amazing. They look pretty good. I don't really have a problem with the visual style of those, and I find like those are more intimate. Like when Lamar, or whatever, I think it's Lamar LaShawn or whatever, sees Angelique and when it's press conference, that's a good scene. I like how Angelique just fucks with this overweight guy who's trying to have sex with her, a nerdy motherfucker, a disgusting guy, but overall that scene doesn't really make that much sense to me. It's overall a mixed bag, but for the most part, I enjoy Hellraiser Bloodline. Hellraiser Bloodline is just a fun movie. It's a fun movie that you just put on, and I like that I could take it more seriously than part 3. Part 3 is a little bit campier than this film. I like that I could take it more seriously than part 3. It lacks the fun factor of part 3, but overall I like that I could take it more seriously than part 3. And that's complimentary to a Hellraiser film if I could take it seriously. I like the bloodline. I like that he has a bloodline member, a bloodline that gets affected. A bloodline that goes from this time period and and I like that. Pinhead himself in this film is the makeup that they use on Pinhead. The makeup that they use on Pinhead is decent. It's not horrible. It's not horrible, but it's definitely a downgrade in comparison to the first two. The first two films and their look of Pinhead was just looked fucking great. Pinhead in the parts 1 and 2 looks pretty fucking badass. It's an upgrade. It's an upgraded look than Pinhead in part 3. Part 3 looks a little bit plasticky, and has a strange mouth look to it. This Pinhead looks a little bit better than those previous 3. I meant part 3 a bit, not parts 1 and 2. That looks pretty good. I'm not too keen on the way Pinhead dies in this film. It was a complete fucking pussification of the Pinhead character, if you ask me. I fucking love Pinhead. I think Pinhead is an underrated horror icon. I think he deserves more love and attention. I think his franchise in general needs more love and attention than it needs to get as much love and attention as the Friday the 13th films. the Nightmare on Elm Street films. I think that it needs more love and attention by the horror audience. And overall, I think it just needs more love. And that's the reason why I'm going to be only reviewing the Hellraiser films from this 4-film pack. It's spread out throughout this year's 31 Days of Horror Film Reviews. It's going to be these are going to be spread out. This is the first of the Hellraiser reviews of this year's episodes. Anyways, Bloodline. I overall enjoy it. I think that's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie. It has a few questionable moments to it. It overall has a few questionable moments to it, but it's entertaining. The short bits with Adam Scott, who is mainly known for comedies, like being an asshole brother and Step Brothers to Will Ferrell's character. Overall, Adam Scott does a good job. I like how he's smug and a prick in this film. I don't like the person that he performs, the guy that was helping him out do that ceremony to resurrect Angelique. That guy kind of looks silly to me. It overall has a lot of downsides to it, but it's not bad. I really enjoy this movie. Is it going to go down in like the history books as a highlight to the Hellraiser franchise? Hell no. There's better Hellraiser movies. There's better Hellraiser movies pre and post this movie. But overall, it isn't a cheesy disaster like it isn't a wasted film like Leprechaun in Foreign Space, but isn't as dumb and silly and fun as Jason X. A lot of people, and one thing that's kind of admirable about Hellraiser Bloodline is that it's the last film pre that piece of shit Revelations that was intended to be a Hellraiser movies. Revelations does not count as a count in that field because it was just thrown together just so the studios can keep the rights, and that's it. I say fuck you to them for disgracing the legacy of a great franchise with Revelations in that film. But it's the last film that attempts to be Hellraiser movie. The other 4 sequels after this are just repurposed scripts, and I overall don't have a problem with them. But overall, I do admire that this film is technically the last one that I count working as a Hellraiser movie. Now, as for the Blu-ray release of it, this Blu-ray I have with it, with this 4-film pack, it's really nothing. You just go. It's the same thing for all these films. You have like a menu. A shitty looking menu where you pick whatever movie you want to watch from this 4-film pack. It looks pretty shitty. It looks unprofessionally made, and then you pick a Bloodline, and then sometimes you get a menu, and the menu screen just doesn't even look like they have any effort. Didn't put any effort into the menu screen. The picture quality, it's basically all you have to do is base it on the PQ and AQ. And the PQ of this Blu-ray is pretty good. The PQ looks pretty great, if you ask me. The PQ looks great. The AQ sounds great. The PQ and AQ is crisp and clear. But overall, it's just bare bones release. So overall, I recommend Hellraiser Bloodline, And I am done with day number 5's review, and I shall be back in a little less than 26 to 24 hours with day number 6 review, and that's going to be a movie that I bet a lot of people are going to enjoy. I'm going to give you a little hint. Steven Spielberg directed it. So anyways, other than that, like, comment, subscribe, and I hope that you enjoy this video, and hope that you like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you with 26 more film reviews in my 31 days of horror film reviews. Anyways, thank you guys for watching yet again, and give Hellraiser Bloodline a watch. It's kind of fun.